Let's say you're at home watching TV. It's late at night and you're tired. I mean, you feel fine, but then you watch 30 seconds of an advertisement, and then suddenly you feel behind, unattractive, unsafe, hungry, or incomplete. Then the product appears as emotional relief. So the question is, did that ad sell you a product, or did it totally just reorganize your emotional state? Advertising can make you feel insecure, frightened, hopeful, relieved, and ready to buy, all before you've consciously reviewed the product. The deeper technique isn't just presenting information, it's controlling the sequence of emotional states through which the information gets to you. And hypnosis calls one related pattern fractionation. This means moving repeatedly between states to deepen your responsiveness. So what happens beyond just a commercial that you watch late at night? What happens when this pattern scales from one customer and one product to an entire population? Let's get into it. So what does fractionation actually mean? In hypnosis, fractionation traditionally means bringing someone partly out of a trance and then guiding them back in, often through repeated cycles. The repetition can strengthen expectancy, familiarity, cooperation, and the ease with which a person re-enters the suggested state. Advertising generally doesn't call this fractionation, but many ads alternate discomfort and relief, confusion and clarity, threat and safety.
It must be the first of the month! New Billboard Day! This year, give her English muffins. Whatever you say, Mr. Billboard!
So there's a lot of psychological parallels here, and we know advertising from the start has used psychological methods to get you to buy things.
Best in the West. That rhymes.
So why might something like emotional cycling work? Emotion changes attention. Fear looks for threats. Desire looks for rewards. And relief makes the proposed solution feel safer and more valuable. The one thing that advertising banks on is that the mind remembers contrast, before and after, danger and rescue, exclusion and belonging, more easy than a flat list of product features. Repetition lowers unfamiliarity, while emotional variation prevents the message from becoming invisible. Therefore, the viewer might feel the brand and that feeling it gave them together, even when the argument for the product itself was weak. So advertising research shows that your responsiveness can be affected by things like attention and memory, evaluation, and affect your behavior. Emotional persuasion doesn't eliminate the choice, but it does change the mental environment in which the choice occurs, which is what they're banking on.
Clown college. You can't eat that. Well, I got everything I was supposed to get. I'm not going to enroll in that clown college, though. That advertisement had no effect on me whatsoever.
Hey, Homer, the section you're supposed to be monitoring is on fire.
Clowns are funny.
So there is a classic advertising sequence. So you create a wound. You show the viewer danger, inadequacy, social failure, bodily problems, or future loss they were not thinking about at the time. Then you agitate the wound. You repeat the consequence, add urgency. You let things like music and images and pacing or testimony deepen that feeling.
I used to think that losing my hair was as inevitable as the tides. Then I found out about Demoxenil, the new miracle breakthrough in hair regrowth.
Miracle breakthrough? There's been a miracle breakthrough?
The odds are Demoxenil can help me grow as much or as little hair as I want to. Hey, today I'm gonna do it.
For your free brochure, send $5 to Demoxenil, 485 Hair Plaza, Hair City, Utah.
Hair.
Then you deliver relief. Introduce the product as the bridge from the unwanted identity to the future or desired one. Then the product becomes more than an object. It becomes this bridge, this emotional exit from a state the advertisement helped create. So for example, in a beauty and hygiene ad, you might feel embarrassment or inadequacy followed by confidence, attraction, acceptance, and social ease. So it's not just hypnotic fractionation, it's recognizable examples of problem, agitation, solution, and the emotional contrast, which is precisely why the fractionation lens here is useful. So this pattern can escape beyond commercials. Social media repeatedly shifts users between anticipation, reward, disappointment, outrage, humor, validation, and uncertainty. Just pick up your phone and start scrolling through YouTube. Write the number one feeling you feel down as you go through, say, 20 or 25 YouTube shorts. You'll see fractionation in action. The reward is variable. The next refresh may bring nothing, or it may bring attention, novelty, approval, conflict, or emotionally intense news. Sensational material can capture attention even when users later engage more thoughtfully with credible material. So the system does not need a mastermind. Engagement incentives naturally favor content that repeatedly changes our emotional state. And that's just how that system works.
Mr. Simpson, I guarantee you we'll come up with a commercial that can save your business. You know those radio ads where two people with annoying voices yammer back and forth? I invented those. Ow! It happens all the time.
So how do we go from individual fractionation to public fractionation? A population can be cycled between emergency and relief, outrage and reassurance, despair and triumph, enemy threat and group solidarity. Each cycle can make the next message easier to process through emotion before evidence has been carefully considered. Fragmented attention weakens continuity. People react to today's emotional peak without comparing it to last month's abandoned emergency. The public may remain highly activated while becoming less capable of sustained thought, memory, compromise, and long-term action, which is the long-term problem. So the hypothesis might be this: when media, campaigns, influencers, platforms, and institutions all compete through emotional intensity, society becomes fractionated even without centralized coordination. The outcome emerges from the system's incentives.
Politics of failure have failed. We need to make them work again. Tomorrow, when you are sealed in the voting cubicle, vote for me, Senator Bob Dole.
I am looking forward to an orderly election tomorrow, which will eliminate the need for a violent bloodbath. America, take a good look at your beloved candidates. They're nothing but hideous space reptiles. It's true. We are aliens. But what are you going to do about it? It's a two-party system. You have to vote for one of us.
He's right. This is a two-party system.
Well, I believe I'll vote for a third-party candidate.
Go ahead. Throw your vote away.
And politics already runs on emotional sequences. So not just advertising, but political advertising often combines arguments with fear, anger, pride, hope, tenderness, belonging, and disgust because emotion affects participation and judgment. Fear can heighten vigilance and uncertainty. Enthusiasm can reinforce loyalty and mobilization. Anger can strengthen blame and confrontation. For example, the 1964 Daisy advertisement moved from an innocent child to nuclear destruction, turning an abstract election into an immediate emotional threat.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 6, 8, 9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
These are the stakes. To make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark. We must either love each other or we must die.
Vote for President Johnson on November 3rd. The stakes are too high for you to stay home.
Modern political communication repeats the larger rhythm. Danger is approaching. Only our side can stop it. Victory will restore safety or dignity. And this is not exclusive to one party. Different campaigns emphasize different threats and moral narratives, but fear and enthusiasm are established elements of political persuasion. Then there's that word, fractionation. If you take them apart, you get fractionation. So consider a public divided into emotionally activated pieces that are easier to predict and mobilize. A two-party system repeatedly presents two permitted forms of relief. Fear the opposing side, then return to the safety of your own. Each party becomes the other party's advertising department because outrage at the enemy strengthens internal loyalty. You have no other choice is also a play.
All hail President K!
I don't understand why we have to build a ray gun to aim at a planet I never even heard of.
Don't blame me. I voted for Kodos.
Go!
Even when neither side is solving the problems of the day, and neither side has to coordinate that message. And looking back at social media, research on hundreds of thousands of Facebook political ads has found especially negative tones among less accountable outside groups, showing how system structures can influence emotional communication. And the main point here is this: binary competition rewards threat inflation, identity sorting, negative messaging, and the portrayal of third choices as wasted or dangerous, all while our biggest problems are being ignored. So how do you detect the pattern? Track the state change. What did I feel before this message, or this content, or this thing I saw on TV? What do I feel now, and who benefits from that transition? Notice compressed sequencing: threat, emotional escalation, identity cue, simple solution, urgency, and immediate call to action. Separate the claim from the atmosphere. Remove the music, the imagery, the narrator, the repetition, the tribal symbols, and then see what evidence remains. Watch for messages that alternate humiliation and approval, exclusion and belonging, catastrophe and rescue, especially across repeated exposure. This is all just about learning how to notice when your emotions are being sequenced faster than your reasoning can follow. And as I've said before in many videos, everyone's banking on your System 1 thinking, not your System 2 thinking. So in summary, I would suggest to you, the viewer, to become harder to fractionate. Delay action after emotional activation. Do not purchase, repost, donate, condemn, or commit while the emotional wave is still inside you. Reconstruct the full timeline. Compare today's emergency with earlier predictions, promises, reversals, and forgotten crises. Diversify your inputs without having to doom scroll every side. Use slower sources, primary evidence, and people who do not profit from keeping you agitated, which most people and institutions do, unfortunately. Protect your freedom of attention. The person who controls your emotional transitions may temporarily control the choices that follow. So, this is my closing thought. Freedom of speech matters, but freedom of attention may come first. Speech cannot inform a mind that's continually interrupted, activated, and reset through fractionation. Fractionation loses its power when you can remain inside one question long enough to examine it without being emotionally pulled into the next one. And the goal is not emotional numbness or being a robot. It's keeping emotion as information rather than allowing it to become the instruction. At the end of the day, this is about agency over paranoia. Manipulation becomes less effective when the viewer knows the sequence, slows it down, and asks what happened between the first feeling and the final decision. That's all for this week. Thanks for joining. Until next time, keep thinking and being, and do not go gentle into that good night.